Hi everyone, this is a brief video using Excel to help make important, complex, strategic decisions. The greatest strength of Excel is to perform what-if scenarios, typically used in forecasting and dynamic model changes. Another powerful use of Excel is what I'm going to talk about today, since Excel can provide detailed ranking on each key variable of your decision. So if you look at this spreadsheet, I've started a list for a contractor or vendor selection. If we go down a little further, we can talk about more topics such as the financial strength of a company, past performance, references, successful projects, etc. So starting a decision ranking Excel file, you have to determine the layout, and I like to put the topics across the top. So I'm going to copy these few topics and use an Excel feature. It's under the top left called Paste Special, and I'm going to transpose the data, and that takes it from a vertical to a horizontal position. From there, I can click on it and format the cells to align them going up, and as you can see, now you can fit many more variables. So if we go into an example ranking structure, what we have are the variables across the top, and what you simply do in order to make your decision is for each topic rank it, and I like to use 1 to 10 because I think it's pretty straightforward, and you go through each variable and ranking. So I put some sample data to the side here, so if I can just copy this and I'm going to paste value, there you go. It would be impossible to consider all 25 decision variables for, let's say, 5 companies, but you could do it for far more. And what we have, if we look at the total, this is simply a sum formula. It shows us that company number 4 ranks the highest based on each individual score. Really helpful. So we've gotten that, but let's take this a little further. Over here we can do rank formulas. So a rank formula, and to show you the formula, this is a great formula, by the way, for professors, it's called equal formula text. So I can show you on my screen the actual ranking formula. So there it is. And if I copy it down, there's actually extra fields in case there's a tie. So here's the formula to rank it, and that way at a glance you can see number 4 is number 1. What you can do with that further is, if I drop down a little bit, you can simply graph that data. So this data is using a VLOOKUP formula, and I use the formula text to show you that. And what you have is the detailed ranking with a nice graphic visual. One more step to increase the formatting is conditional formatting. We can use a color scheme to say the number 10s are shown in green and everything else is either yellow or red. And what that does is, just in case if you wanted to do the what-if scenario, right now it's number 4 is the top of the list, as you can see on the graph, but if I change these to 1, automatically the graphs change and the companies are resorted. So really powerful tool in terms of ranking. Otherwise it would be so hard to really make this decision. If you're presenting this, another feature you could do is on this tab I replicated what was shown on the other sheet, but this can provide some narrative. Again, I use the alignment going up and down for just a few words. If there's some number 10s or number 1s that you want to present to your executives, this way you'll have the notes at your hand. So that's the basis. Let's kick it up. Next thing we want to do is look at a purchase. Could be a building, could be land. This is just a basic template, but I've added a weighting factor because obviously if you're doing 20 or 30 different variables, some variables are going to matter more, such as the cost and location and size versus if there's conference rooms or the reception area. So using these weighted areas, again, here is a detailed ranking summary. All this is example data. You can visualize the complexity shown based on the multitude of different variables plus their weighting. It all gets done, and through a couple formulas you can rank your solution. Now to my favorite, this one is now a personal decision maker Excel sheet that I use to help with my son's college selection. It's probably one of the biggest and most expensive decisions you can make next to buying a home. And what we have across the top was data from US News and other sources. And all of this was public data, and it looks a little complex, but in fact the data was presented in a way I could copy and paste it into Excel. So let's just look across the top on the variables. There were college rankings, the acceptance rate, the enrollment, the costs across the board, and the 4-year costs. You'll notice that I've added formatting to these two columns of acceptance and 4-year costs. Next, there's class sizes. There was salaries. At this particular spreadsheet was for a business degree, and it was looking at starting salaries after graduation, average scores of applicants, and some miscellaneous detail. So from this, you put in the data, and we looked at numerous colleges. Like I said, I was able to copy and paste this data, so the full list is pretty extensive. He didn't apply to as many colleges are shown here, but he did do about a dozen colleges or so. And why I focused and did conditional formatting on these columns is it helped us really look at it. Many of these rankings came very close, and in such a big decision, being close, this matrix may not be enough to make that decision. So what we did next was we used Excel. I created a choice matrix of just the top colleges that we wanted to look at. And in order to do that, I used two major factors: cost, which is the x-axis, showing low cost per year, mid cost, and high cost. So it goes from $20,000 per year up to $75,000 per year. And then the other deciding factor in regards to what he would which school to apply to would be the acceptance rate, right? So you want to spend your time and energy where you think you would be accepted. And if you can see on the top right here, these highly selective schools, Georgetown, Cornell, Princeton, UPenn, Stanford, all of these are very low acceptance and very high costs. And what we ended up with, we found some middle ground. And by the way, if you're in the state of Nevada, at the bottom, essentially the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, or Reno, if you have pretty decent grades, it's going to be free. So, and the acceptance rate is very, very high. So this was number one on our list in terms of application, but otherwise we kind of focused on the middle ground, and we certainly applied to some what we considered lottery schools in terms of acceptance. So without this major list, we could have never refined it down to our choice matrix. Some other features in Excel, college applications are so difficult. Here's a quick glance at the planning involved. You got to plan the plan, and here's junior year. You really have to be very, very active junior year. Actually, it starts freshman year in terms of the whole college application experience. So with that, it was pretty easy to organize, and you can see the spreadsheet showing what has to be done by month, your junior year through your senior year. Again, another use of Excel in the same spreadsheet for college. Look at the complexity for determining early action, essays, and then all the financial data required. It's so complex. Excel just helped tremendously across the board. Keep track of what was being sent in and when it was completed, when it was due. Next, for those who do have kids considering college, extracurriculars really matter on the applications, and there's a tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. You're going to have to break that down and have data ready. You can't think about this your junior year. You really need to start your freshman year. And then I guess the last thing, here's an agenda. If you've seen my prior blog, I like to use Excel for agendas, and this was a college visit with Purdue University, and we broke it down by day and who we're going to see, and put their biopics in there. We had a great visit, and this one happens to include an estimated cost. So very, very powerful in terms of Excel helping with across the board the college selection, major contractor or major purchase. By the way, my son was accepted to Purdue in the Honors College. He's doing pretty well there. He still has a few essays to complete for his application, but I guess after 1 year of college it's too late, so we don't have to follow up with that. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you consider Excel for your next big decision.